Folks, we're waiting on a couple people. It'll be just a few minutes here. Bear with us.
My name is Peter Drumm. I am the president of the election board. And we have first a new member of the election board that we need to make everybody aware of. And let me just read the letter from the Delaware County chairman. This letter is in reference to the above captioned matter. Ashley Nichols has resigned as a Democrat Party representative to the Delaware County Election Board. I have accepted her resignation. I have appointed Joseph Hunter as a Democrat representative on the Delaware County Election Board. I will follow up with his contact information. Of course, Joe, we all know how to contact you, but we're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
And we hope that we can get through this board meeting fairly quickly and not take a lot of time. Now, first we need to have a roll call.
So, our new member, Mr. Hunter. Here. Mr. Drumm.
Yes, sir. Here.
Mr. Spangler, present.
Okay.
Second thing on the agenda is the approval of there's past minutes for 2 meetings. So I know Mr. Hunter was not part of those meetings, so I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Well, I've read the minutes and I second that motion.
I could say that I've read the minutes, but since I did not participate in those meetings, I'm going to abstain from voting.
Okay.
And then I'll call for a vote.
Call for a vote.
Mr. Drumm
I vote yes, we accept.
and Mr. Spangler, I vote the same, that we accept the past minutes of the meeting. Turn that mic around a little bit. Joe's kind of soft-spoken, and I have to make sure we get it.
It's Joe, kind of talk into that because it's this, we have to transcribe.
So the purpose of this meeting is to adjudicate the challenges made against candidates. And our first challenger would be David Williams. David, could you take the seat down at the end of the table near the microphone? And Mr. Drumm is going to swear you in.
Mr. Williams, you raise your right hand. Do you swear, sir, to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
David, I have here actually 2 filings from you. Would you like to tell this board who you're challenging and why you're challenging them?
First, I'm challenging Bradley T. Bookout for improper notary, no signature on his Can-2 form. And also challenging Ed Carroll Jr. for his improper county blank left off. There's no name for his county in the Can-37.
Okay. And I don't know where we start at with this, but
Start at the beginning.
okay. On your paperwork, you filed these complaints as a candidate who submitted a petition of a nomination under IC 3-8-6. Can I see your petition? Because for the offices you run for, we don't use petitions. Your complaint should have been filed as a registered voter. Petitions are used for governor, we use petitions for school board and other state offices. But you have filed improper paperwork to take people off the ballot for improper paperwork. So unless we want to discuss this farther, I would like to put a motion into our chairman that we deny both challenges due to improper paperwork.
I would second that.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Does our attorney have anything he wants to say?
No, I think that's the key issue versus our paperwork.
Okay. All right. Then let's take a vote
Okay,
on the motion.
You understand, sitting on the merits.
Mr. Hunter?
Yay.
Mr. Drumm?
Yes.
Mr. Spangler, yes. That shows those two challenges have been denied.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next challenger is Mr. Bilbrey.
Good morning.
Mr. Bilbert, can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that you will tell us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Bilbrey, if you wouldn't mind, let's start with the Lookout challenge.
All right. Would you want to be-
That was for the notary signature.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I'm starting. Okay. Well, I'm glad that we started this meeting off talking about the importance of filing proper paperwork. So before we get started, I want to read the statement. As a community, we are faced with many daily challenges, said the process and integrity of transparent and legally conducted elections is currently at the forefront of our attention at the present time. This process is just as sacred as our right to freedom of religion. The current atmosphere of no trust in government and government officials is not retained by one political party, but spans all walks of life and beliefs. The local election board is the very root of our elections, which ensures that we have totally transparent and lawfully system, so that it is imperative that our Delaware County Election Board conducts its business by following the law and not being influenced by personal or political bias, and most importantly, not by past board decisions that did not follow the law. The integrity of the process is at stake. The process of ours allows for challenges by the electorate. I implore the Delaware County Election Board to totally follow the law, regardless of outcomes, to maintain the integrity of and ensure the sanctity of our elections with true transparency in the conduct of this very important process of our community. The election board cannot afford to conduct business in relying on past decisions of the board as being legal and proper. Read and apply the law equally and fairly to all concerned. We must now and forever in the future hold those accountable for their own actions or inactions when involved in the election process. This includes government officials who have erred in judgment or in procedure. The bottom line is that we must follow the law when conducting our governmental business and our civic duties. That was a statement that was typed up and sent out as a press release by the Republican Party chair, Ed Carroll, last year. Now, I've left out some documents there, and I have paperwork. If you guys need to see that or want to see that for the record, I can provide that to you, and I have those copies here. But I think the message that was in this document is very important because that's what's at the forefront of what we're going to be discussing today. The next document I want to show you is a document that is not provided by the Indiana Secretary of State's office. It's not been part of a document for filing by the Secretary of State's office. It was a document created by the clerk, and this document reads, the clerk's office will no longer proofread, correct candidate filings. The paperwork, the proper paperwork and filing of the paperwork correctly is the responsibility of the candidate. We suggest that you review all paperwork with your party chairman before filing. I have read this form and understand that it will be included with my filings. Okay, I think that's also very important today. Okay, as we talk about my challenge to Mr. Bookout, I have no ill will towards either one of the candidates that I've challenged today. It's important that we follow the law. Okay. I want to read to you here this document from the American Association of Notaries. The most critical element of a notarized document is the notary signature. The lack of a notary signature is fatal to the notarization. It is essential that the notary sign every notarial certificate that he or she notarizes, even if the name on the notary public is spelled out in the official seal, even if he or she uses a rubber stamp that states his or her name, and even as his or her name appears pre-printed in the notary certificate. The lack of a notary signature is considered to be negligence that will render the notarization invalid. One example of such rejection occurred in Florida, where a candidate for re-election to state legislature was denied access to the ballot due to one notary who failed to sign the notary certificate that accompanied the candidate's paperwork, followed by a second notary who failed to indicate the notary certificate how he verified, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. How he verified the signer's identity, which is required item in Florida notary certificates. The result of these notary errors was that the candidate's district had to spend tens of thousands of dollars to hold a special election because that candidate was removed from the ballot. All right. Next up, I want to read from Indiana Code 3342.912. And just in the very first portion of this section, it says a notarial act must be authenticated by a certificate bearing the date of a notarial act and the signature of the notarial officer. The properly completed certificate must conform to the following conditions. And then they have the stamp and yada, yada, yada. As you can see on the paperwork, or you should be able to see on the paperwork of Mr. Bookout's, it has left off on the amended document the signature of the notarial officer, which I think would invalidate that notary. The next thing, Indiana Code 3827 in the very first section says the declaration of each candidate required by this chapter must be signed before a person authorized to administer oaths and contain the following information. And there again, I would assume that that would have been either the clerk, if they would have turned it in, had the clerk stamp it, or a notary. And in order to have that notary be valid, they would have to have a signature on that line. And then lastly, okay, no, that's it. That's done there. I just want to say, I guess, with this document, that I feel as if okay. You know, I am not someone that likes to kick candidates off the ballot. I don't think that the people should. I don't think that this election board should be used to do that. The problem is, in the last several years, we've had a jostling of what goes on. Sometimes people have been allowed to correct things, sometimes they haven't. I think that we need to get a baseline level of what's going on. I think that a good point of order was what happened last year, and we need to go forward from that. So if we are going off what happened last year, let's move forward. I'm asking the board to not change what happened from last year to this year.
What happened last year has nothing to do with this year. That's not. It's okay, Chris. Laugh all you want. You know, you say you don't enjoy this. Why are you always the one here trying to do this? I mean, you know.
How many challenges that?
Well, because you get your minions to do them for you, Kristopher.
I think your mischaracterization there is extremely inappropriate for this meeting.
Well, may I ask, please, our lawyer,
There's a,
because I'm a
I'm
lawyer
sorry.
too.
Sure.
so Joe. We have a statute in Indiana that allows you to, that says that the failure of a notary officer to perform a duty. In fact, you want to look it up, it's part of IC 33-42-16-1 A. Rule A. Failure of a notary officer to perform a duty, meet its requirement specified in this article, does not invalidate a notary act performed by the notary officer.
Were you aware of that when you filed this complaint?
No, I was not. But in preparing for that, I read that. Now, I believe that says that it does not invalidate it if that can be fixed. And I believe that that would be that perfectly fine if it's fixed before the deadline. The problem is if they could have fixed the notary prior to noon on February 9th, that would have been perfectly fine. The issue is we have a deadline of noon on February 9th, and that's a deadline for a reason, and I feel like we need to stick with that.
Are you referring to 1 or 1A?
I don't have that document in front of me, sir, but I mean, I would look at what you've got there, but I'm just I'm just referring to the fact that we have a deadline that was noon on February 9th.
Well, okay, let's let our lawyers look at this.
Okay.
All right,
Sure.
because it would be as wrong for us
Absolutely.
to dismiss
Yes, sir.
as it would be to agree with you
Sure.
if the notary is not that important. And unfortunately for me, and I don't know that our lawyer has read it, but I've read the law.
Okay.
And I think you're misinterpreting.
I'm not seeing where it has that you correct.
I don't think it does have to be corrected. And that was what our Supreme Court told us.
Okay.
But you want us to do what we think the law is, right?
I want you to do what you think the law. I want you to follow the law. If you're saying that's the law, follow the law.
Okay.
I mean, the failure of a notary officer to perform a duty or meet a requirement specified in this article does not validate a notary act formed by the federal office.
So, but you feel it does invalidate them.
I don't know. I mean, just not anybody can be a notary. And I mean, it's when you get things notarized, that's normally for a pretty serious, I mean, purpose. And it holds a level of, yes, this has been validated. This is who this is. I mean, if you ask me the question, do I feel it's important? I guess I would say if.
No, I asked you the question, despite that statute, if the notary did not sign,
Yeah.
you feel that it ought to not be allowed as a valid notary stamp.
I feel that I feel like the notary, the process of getting something notarized and everything that goes into everything that goes into that is a pretty serious happening.
Yeah,
So
but that didn't answer my question.
if you guys are saying that a signature is not needed and you said a moment ago that it wasn't that important, then that's the way you guys vote, I guess.
What I said is, despite what the law says there, you feel like we should still,
I'm saying follow the law.
I think the qualification here is that they still have to be a notary. That's first and foremost. Well, if they're a notary, then you can still seek the validation of the record, but then that's a discretionary determination. Doesn't make it automatic.
so it's discretionary with us.
Whether or not you determine that's something that would invalidate the person's.
Okay.
And that would be what I'm looking there is that's under B. That'd be 33, 42, 16, 1, B. 1.
Because
Well, I guess my question is, I mean, how being a notary and knowing what the responsibility of a notary is, how do you go through this whole procedure, stamp it, and then not sign it?
I don't know, but I use notaries that
That's
have done that.
That's a concern. What
I mean, it just,
what you're telling us is,
this, I'm telling you, statute states, favor a notary officer to perform a duty or meet a requirement specified in the article, which go over with
the signature, yeah.
does not invalidate a notarial act performed by the notarial officer.
And that's by statute.
And
right?
it says on, yeah, now that statute, that does exactly, and then if you go down further, the presumed validity of a notarial act in this section does not prevent an injured party from seeking the invalidation of a record or transaction relying upon a complete notarial act. Which to me then, leads to discretionary determination.
Chairman, I have the opportunity to rebut.
Right now.
No, not right now. Thank you.
Well, at some point,
At some point, you're gonna have to let it.
Yeah, I know. I want to make sure we were through, through with Kristopher right now.
Right. Is there something, is there other things you want to present to us right now? Do we have
Well,
another?
I mean, if we're done with this one, I have the other challenge, but.
Well, we're
Well,
still
I
in
think
Okay,
process.
yeah, sure, yeah, I just didn't know which
I
one
want
I
to
got.
take this challenge.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, Chris, if you want to step away from the
Sure,
mic,
absolutely.
we'll allow the challenge party
Yeah.
to come forward.
Good morning, members. I'm Brad Bookout.
You need to be sworn in, Brett.
Okay.
Sure.
Or Donnie can, whatever.
Mr. Bookout, do you swear that you will tell the truth and nothing but the truth at this meeting? So help you God.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, members. Thank you for the opportunity to share some information with you. I appreciate my challengers' interest in my candidacy, of course. I've lived in Delaware County for 51 years, and I'm confident in my ability to be on the ballot. I have prepared for you today 3 items of evidence that I'd like to submit to you as the board, if I may pass those out to you. And I'll try to be quick with this, and I hope that this clarifies some of the,
There are 3 separate ones, or
yeah, they're stapled individually within the paperclip.
these are just copies of this.
Yes, sir. Copies of what I'm about to present.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one is the rules regarding what constitutes a signature on a contract. I've researched this, and this is completed by Lisa Burns, attorney at law, and reviewed also by Aviana Cooper, attorney at law. All that needs to be in some case in order to represent your signature can be your name, an X, a picture, a squiggle, anything that makes a mark on paper that distinguishes your intent to sign the document. This also includes signatures made with stamps or by electronic means. Whatever method you choose to sign your document, courts will consider the following: whether you made the signature, whether you intended to make the signature, which is an important point, whether you intended the signature to signify the agreement upon which you're notarizing. That was the first document that I wanted to share. The second document, I recognize my challenger referenced that he wants to follow the law, but he actually quoted text from the Association of Notaries, and I'm going to quote text from the Indiana Secretary of State, the Indiana Notary Public Guide. The Indiana Secretary of State, Diego Morales, oversees notaries within the state of Indiana. Second document that I provided to you allows for notary of public. It's a guide explaining the procedures for correcting errors to a notary of public. So to correct an error, the notary shall be made allowed to make a correction to the certificate after notarization. It is the responsibility of the notary to correct the error and omission on the certificate that they complete. making corrections on the certificate either by filling in the necessary missing information, printing the information with your initial and date nearby, and recording the changes in your notary journal. The notary has a legal obligation under page 17 of the Indiana Notary Guide by the Secretary of State to correct any errors in their notary signature. The final document that I've shared with you is an affidavit from the notary on their intent to notarize the document. And I'll read this for the purposes of this meeting. Now comes Lori E. Albert, Notary of Public, Delaware County, Indiana, commission number NP 0725653, affirming the following facts. On or about February 8th, 2024, appeared Bradley Bookout with documentation requiring notarization. Upon confirmation that the documents were complete, proper identification and witness of signature, I affixed my Notary of Public seal, declared the state of Indiana, Delaware County, the date of expiration of my commission, March 5th, 2028, as well as my county of residence. The intent of my actions and affixation of my Notary of Public seal is to confirm and fulfill the complete notarization of the documents as presented. I again hereby submit confirmation of my actions with the same documents, affixing my signature and my Notary of Public seal. Lori E. Albert, February 16th, notarized affidavit. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, but I've tried to lay out the intent of what I believe the proper procedure is in this case.
Do you think any board member have a question? Joe, do you have any questions?
So this is the same woman that signed the can.
Signed?
Well, because I would note, I got copies of the complete challenge this morning, and I would note that there was another notary signature, Mr. Bookout's app.
Yeah, there's two forms. One
Yeah.
form was proper, the
Yeah.
second form missed the signature. So they
This
were
was-
signed same time by same notary.
Well, this was signed by Marissa Rittenhouse, what I have.
There was an original document that was filed, and then that was subsequently withdrawn, and an amended version was resubmitted.
So what I'm looking at here is this is the amended form that was notarized properly.
You're correct. There are two notarized documents.
Yeah.
One was the original, and one was the amended.
Well, I mean, from my perspective, the real question comes down to, is she responsible for the act of someone else's act?
Right.
And
I hate to stop
Okay.
this. I need everybody out in the building immediately heading towards the Mets building. Excuse me. We got the guy next door. Go.
Well, let's adjourn this meeting.
Yes.
No adjourn.
They're recording.
go fast.
No, I'm good.
Everybody
tell you guys?
Gas leak.
At the Justice Center?
Yeah,
So why are we doing this?
we are going that way.
Is that the Justice Center? No.
He
told us to go towards Mets, didn't he?
Yeah.
Said go towards Mets, yeah.
I've never officially. Yeah, I
Must be
can't
a
shake
big
a
gas.
hand, but you're.
Go. Must be a big gas leak. Let's go. Come on. Come on.
I'll read right on. Yes, first time. Sherry, you
Hey, you're going that far. Sure, come back.
I wanted to make sure that that. Hey, grab one first and get out. Mine is
All right.
Okay, just, I don't know.
Look. I won't even say what I was thinking. But we will set the camera up. Follow what's going on here. So I want to correct the record here. I want to correct the record and say that he wanted to shake my hand. We never formally. We went to a party and we both were. What is it? He wanted to say hi, Jimmy, shake my hand as I was carrying paperwork and shit. So here's the thing. The bottom line is, Rick was extremely out of line in his ad hominem attack against me. I think what he said at the beginning of that was extremely, extremely ridiculous. Ryan, did you hear what Ed said to me, or what Rick said to me before my testimony started? Absolutely insane that he would feel that he should appropriately say that or feel like he has. That's quite insane. Now we see the attorneys and Ed Carroll over here doing their thing, meeting over here by the car. David Pentecost talking to him. Rick was over there. So Mr. Bookout has 2 can 2s. He has 2 can 2s. One was filled out by Notary A, and it was filled out properly. It was filled out properly. But then for whatever reason, they decided to amend that document, which meant that document no longer existed. And the second document was then the document in question. And that document was not signed. Now, I don't know if you could hear what the election board attorney was saying. He seemed to be very short of breath, seemed to be kind of stumbling over his words. He was very hard to hear. He was very difficult to understand. But what he tried to tell them for the first couple minutes was that the notary didn't matter. And then once I brought up my point, he was like, well, it does, but it's up to the board. And did you actually hear Pete Drumm say that the notary didn't matter? Wasn't that important? The notary isn't that important? Are you for real? That is honestly insane. Listen, 3 of the challenges last year also had the exact same error on the can 1 that they threw out the ones this year for, and Brandy and Troy asked them to be dismissed. Absolutely. And I was afraid to ask even if I could speak for that. I was afraid because I remember saying that last year. And I was afraid to do that. They should have the gentleman that spoke before me, David Williams. I was afraid that he had made a mistake on his document. I was afraid of that. And in fact, he did. But I just want to say for the record, in 2022, this election board kicked off Rebecca Adams and Jesse Landis for the same reason that Ed was being challenged today. And so I hope Rebecca Adams out there and Jesse Landis is watching this, and I hope they're really pissed off because it's nuts. Absolutely insane. You see what I do? I come over here and stand completely by myself because I just feel like I certainly don't fit in with those people over there. I mean, did you hear? Listen to me. I'll be honest. I just don't give a fuck anymore. I want to let's get back. Can we reconvene out here and you guys vote to keep him on the ballot? So, FYI. Never mind. If you're interested in my commentary, tune in tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. Tune in tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on the channel, and I'll give you all my commentary. I won't dirty this up with that commentary. Look at Pete Drumm over here talking to Ed Carroll. The board either has to say the notary doesn't matter or vote to allow it to be amended after filing deadline to uphold a challenge. Those are the 3 things that they can do. And 2 of those things are in the wrong. Like, look, they don't have to like me. I'm not asking these people to like me. I specifically don't care if they like me. I don't need to be liked by these people. I need them to follow the law. It's pretty simple. No. I'm a political commentator, and we were in the middle of an election board meeting upstairs, and yeah.
Yeah, so perfect time, perfect place.
All right.
Really didn't experience that part around like we're like, gotta be with somebody.
That is fair. That's a nice question.
Huh.
It's not raining, so it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I actually thought that when they came in and said that. I was like, oh, damn.
Everybody out.
And for everybody that didn't see, no, there's not a quorum over there. They have the quorum. They're split up. However, that being said, for all the Henry County viewers, Chad Malacote is here. Some of you might not know that name, but Chad Malacote is the former Henry County councilor that did not run for re-election 4 years ago. He's now running for re-election. He is a Sproles plant. And Henry County Chad Malacote is here. What's he doing in Delaware County? Is he here to take notes on me for Sproles? No. His business partner in life some would say his life partner, is Ed Carroll. Who's Ed Carroll? Oh, that's the Republican Party chairman, who's also the auditor and the precinct committee person that should be kicked out of his precinct because he didn't put Delaware County down. They wouldn't take testimony from them, unfortunately. Okay, so yeah, now we actually have a quorum. We actually have a quorum over there, and they're discussing, or they're talking. I don't know what they're talking about. We've got Joe Hunter, who is the attorney. He's an attorney. He is the spouse of the Democrat Party chairman, and he's now the election board member, and he's talking to Rick Spangler and the election board attorney. I'm surprised that he was able to stand. And then Ed Carroll and Pete Drumm, and I don't know who the other person is. Oh, it wasn't who I thought it was. I don't know. We'll see. Hey, let me ask everybody. Well, let me understand. Let me make sure everyone's aware. I graduated from Delta High School, went to Ball State University. I am not an attorney. I don't pretend to be an attorney. And I was facing down 1, 2, 3 attorneys at that table. Rick is not an attorney, but everyone else sitting at that table was an attorney. Pete Drumm's an attorney. The fumbling McClellan is an attorney. And Joe Hunter is an attorney. No, I'm not going over there. They can do what they want to do. I don't care that much. Right, Brandon. Right, Brandon. And I see what you're saying there, Kate. You know, the fact that he realized that he went, this was an issue, and he went in and had it notarized. Look, I'm not disagreeing that he can't go in and get it renotarized. I'm now disagreeing that he can do that on the 16th. He said that he went in on the 16th to do that. Well, the 16th is 1 week after the challenge period deadline, after the filing deadline. They're legitimately saying that the deadlines don't matter. Tim, brother, this is a shit show and a half. The filing deadline was noon on the 9th. You cannot make corrections after the deadline, but yet he made a correction on February 16th, and they're going to allow that. Man, I'm telling you, I don't care. Let him on the ballot. I'm probably more pissed at Rick's statement. I've never challenged anybody in Delaware County. I've never challenged a person. This is the first time I've challenged someone in Delaware County history. I think that, oh yeah, now they're all over there oh no. Well, there goes Joe. What did Brandon say? And the intention argument is crap. I intended to sign it, so that should count. Let me tell all my creditors that. I'm sure the mortgage company will love it if I say I meant to pay it, so you can say, I'm like, yeah, right. There's no zoom in. It is what it is. Let me ask you, everybody, oh, it's definitely, the quorum is right there on the other side of that car. Yes, he should have been able to. Oh, we're going to go over and talk to Pinnacuff. Hold on. We're going to talk to Pinnacuff.
We're gonna go ahead and adjourn for the day.
Okay.
Mr. Hunter had some meetings.
Okay.
He had to go to. So
Okay.
We'll give you a new date here.
Okay.
We have, of course, but
Okay.
yeah.
That works.
Yeah, it's better than standing out. here
Sure.
all day
Right.
and
Absolutely.
waiting on the rain.
Yeah. Where did he go to?
They call it for today.
Yeah. Where did Pinnacuff go? Looking for David Pinnacuff. Over there, the fire trucks and ambulance and all that's over there. I'll have to go through everything. Maybe Pinnacuff walked over to the newspaper, or walked back to the newspaper. I was going to say walked over to see the fire trucks. Maybe see if he's over there.
Mine right over there. I can't come out.
I did hear Andrew Pop mention to Dave Pinnacuff that he's like, did you get our statement on this? I think Andrew doesn't like that I challenged Sherry, but I think Andrew would be better served supporting his candidate and not the candidate running against his candidate. If anyone wants to hear more intelligent commentary on all of this, tune in tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on this YouTube channel and on Facebook and everywhere else. So All right, I'm going to kill the feed. You guys have a great day. Thank you for tuning in. I apologize, Mikey. Bookout's still not a real candidate. They haven't voted yet, Mike. Are you on lunch, Mike? Get back to licking your stamps. What a dumbass.